This week on the show, we talk recasting Princess Leia, a lighthearted Batman, and who hates Blade Runner. Next on Legion of Dads.
Dad's home.
Hi, Dad.
Lord of the manor, king of the castle.
Well, that seems appropriate.
I am a dad.
We are dads.
We are many. We are one. We are the Legion of Dads. The Legion.
Dads.
Hello.
We are the Legion of Dads.
Join us.
The Legion of Dads.
An entire legion.
Great, Dad.
We are the Legion of Dads.
Daddy-o.
From now on, we'll be known as the Legion.
So we are many.
We acknowledge this is an appropriate metaphor. We are Legion.
We are the Legion of Dads.
You are not alone. We are all in this together now.
Hello and welcome to Legion of Dads, the show for the modern dad. We talk movies, comics, video games, and how to be a great dad. I'm your host, Wyatt Kegel, and with me, as always, I have my co-host. We have father of two, Kenneth Dupuis. Hey, Kenneth.
Hey, Wyatt. Hey, Legion.
We also have father of four, Richard. Hey, Richard.
Hey, Legion. Hey, Wyatt.
Gentlemen, it's good to talk to you today. We have a lot to cover because New York Comic-Con has been happening over the last week, and that always gives us a lot of goodies to sink our teeth into. And we actually postponed our recording one day just for this first story, which is the second Star Wars trailer has dropped.
Yeah, I mean, okay, first off, this is kind of the last trailer in the mix. So usually these are the trailers that kind of give you a little more clue into what the actual plot, of the movie is going to be. And I think some of the fans today were actually kind of worried that, it would give away too much of the plot, as is the trend of a lot of trailers, nowadays in Hollywood. But I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it, gave you enough tease of the plot of like all these characters to kind of whet your appetite. And, it might be pushing you in a certain direction. But there was no way I wasn't going to watch it. But I really enjoyed it. I thought that, man, I love Kylo Ren's character. This, like, he's kind of almost embodying what I thought Anakin should be. Like how he should have been approached. Someone that's really struggling with the light and dark side. So
with sand and
yeah, not fearful of sand and calling people liars.
This is a spoiler-filled zone in terms of the trailer. Like, if you haven't watched it yet, because I want to talk about some specifics, because they are definitely leaning heavily, like Leia's going to die. We know.
There's been
pretty much telegraphed that pretty.
They do in the trailer,
well.
But it could be, it could be. There's been a lot of rumors as to why Colin Trevorrow was battling the script for 9 so much. And that a lot of people seem to think that had to do with the end, the ending to this movie and how they're dealing with Carrie Fisher's passing. Yeah. Because apparently, like Force Awakens was supposed to be Han's movie. This is kind of supposed to be Luke's movie. And I think the plan was kind of for 9 to be her movie. So there's some in the fan community think they should just give her a proper send-off. I kind of think that even though how great Carrie Fisher was, that the character of Princess Leia and what she stands for and means to, fans and, the female community kind of deserves, it could deserve a recasting. It might be, just to see the character have its full arc that it's supposed to have.
I'm sorry. Are you suggesting that they recast Princess Leia?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I would rather them just CG her Rogue One style than recast.
I wouldn't mind either one of those.
Philip Seymour Hoffman style.
Yeah, I mean, if they had some scenes that they already shot and didn't use of her, and they were able to make them make sense, maybe. But I'd rather see the logical progression of her character, how it was meant to be done, than having to scramble because the actress passed away. Kind of like what they, like imagine if they just wrote Dumbledore out of Harry Potter movies because, what's his name died.
Yeah, but Dumbledore is a lot different than Dumbledore is a lot different than Carrie Fisher's portrayal of Princess Leia. I don't.
Yeah, it is.
To me,
I'm a lot
blown away by that you would even suggest. That.
It is a lot different in meaning, and so that it is that the character is more than her. You know, that character means more to the fan community, and to that character has such a staple in, you know, even U.S. history, you know, since its creation, that I think it deserves more to just. Then I don't know what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, I think you would get a lot of pushback if they decided to recast.
It reminds me of in Spaceballs when they catch the stunt doubles instead of the Druish princess.
Yeah, but see, I wouldn't really mind it. I'm looking at it just in terms of the character, and I'd much rather have Princess Leia have a proper finality to her role than for them to just be like, oh, and then her ship exploded and she died off screen.
If they play it out the way that it is in the trailer, it may be that Kylo then kills her as well. And
but what's the point of that?
Well, you kill your father, you kill your mother. That is quite a bit of a Greek tragedy.
Well, we've already seen him cross that line. So just to have him try to have another emotional contact, I think there's obviously a choice he's going to have to make there, but I don't think he'll do it.
The fact that they have that, this trailer has a lot of interesting things. You have that piece to it, and then you also have which may be just an editing trick, but the idea that Rey doesn't get what she needs from Luke, I guess, and turns to Kylo for guidance.
Yeah, and I think it could be a ploy, but
yeah. I mean which I kind of hope it's not, just because that would be a really interesting twist. To the whole thing, because when that popped up in the trailer, I was not expecting that, and that gets me excited.
There's this idea in the current community about the Gray Jedi. Have you guys heard of this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so and Richard, just for you and our Legion out there, it's kind of like someone that knows light and dark and is neither fully one, but right in the middle, a neutral, complete neutral, but is because that's what the Force is. The Force is light and dark. It is neutral, and that's the easiest way to explain it. There's a whole lot more to it, but
yeah, and Star Wars Rebels is really with the
Bendu.
Probably going to pronounce it the Bendu. Yeah, I was going to pronounce it wrong. They've really gone into that with a lot of the characters on that show. That has become a huge theme over at Lucasfilm. Is even with Ahsoka from Clone Wars, whenever she came back in Rebels.
Totally. What was she, like, Deep Throat, or what they call her?
Fulcrum.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
You were that close.
you were so close. You had so
I was
far.
thinking Metal Gear Solid.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Wait. So Deep Throat, you were. So when you hear Deep Throat, you think Metal Gear Solid. You don't think Watergate.
No, I'm
X-Files.
I'm a total nerd. But no, I think you're right that it could be really interesting, because it would be very cool if, like, Kylo's like in the dark side, but he's got this pull to the light. And I don't know if Rey is kind of got a pull to the dark, or Luke doesn't trust her, but maybe neither one of them gets what they need or what they feel as a fulfillment to what they want out of the Force through their masters.
Maybe they're the yin.
Maybe they just run off together and
the old way,
Sugarland Express it or something.
Well, no, I mean, it's interesting the amount of like fear that is in Luke Skywalker's face.
Yeah.
In so many of these shots.
Oh God, I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
He is that to me is a really interesting this. If anything, this trailer has got me really excited that we're not going to have a direct, this is a hero's journey. You've seen it 1,000 times. At least I'm hoping that's the case. Now, if this is a whole misdirect, I walk in and we're like, man, this feels exactly like
Empire,
a
or something.
boilerplate Empire or something. Yeah, or Empire is ending or something like that. I would be really disappointed if they go in the way of. It almost feels like it's leading up to Empire at the end, but whenever Darth Vader goes, "Join me, and together we will rule the galaxy of father and son." If Luke went, you know what, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, let's do this. Obi-Wan was a liar.
Yeah, really. And that's almost with that little piece at the end when she's like, I need somebody I don't know where my place is. I need somebody to show me. And then they cut to Kylo and you're just like,
But is she seducing him? Is she seducing him? And not sexually, but like the light side. Is she doing something that like Luke would have never approved of? I mean, we don't know Luke's character.
Yeah, no, I mean, this whole thing just opens us up to a lot of things. Now, Richard, do you think we're going to get the answer to one of the bigger questions at the end of Force Awakens is
no.
Why Rey was, I don't care about Snoke. Why Rey was on that planet and who her parents are. That was the thing coming out of into Force Awakens.
At the end of this movie?
No, yeah, I mean, are we going to know that?
I think we will. I mean, absolutely. Somebody left her with that guy and flew off for a reason. I mean, it was very Luke Skywalker-y.
I hope it's not pivotal to the plot, though. I hope it's just.
Of course, it is.
Well, I hope that what I mean by pivotal to the plot.
She's related to somebody, and they left her there.
I hope not. I hope she's not related to somebody, and I hope that what she finds out about her past only helps inform her or makes her more conflicted about her decision about whether to maybe which side of the Force to be on. I hope it makes her more conflicted. I hope
it's destiny. I hope it doesn't. Related.
I hope it doesn't.
Richard. Okay, Richard. Let's put a pin in it right now so that we on December 15th we all know. Richard, who's Rey's father?
Here we go. Yeah.
Who's she related to?
Who's she related to?
I like the theory that she's related. She's a Palpatine.
She's a Palpatine. Okay.
Oh, I like that theory too, but I don't want it to be true.
I really like that theory.
Okay.
It's like the inverse of Luke.
Actually,
it is Luke. Never mind. It is Luke. I love that theory.
I don't have her.
So you're doing Palpatine or are you doing Luke?
Yeah. What's going on?
Because Darth Vader was Luke's father. Palpatine is Rey's something. I mean, she's a Palpatine.
Okay.
Until I'm proven otherwise, she's a Palpatine.
Well, yeah. No, this is a meaningless.
It's that whole. I love
this is a meaningless gesture. Other than we can come back on the week of the 15th and go like, oh,
I was way off.
or we'll be like, wait a minute, what did you say? I don't remember.
Yeah,
and then we'll just all claim that we said it correctly.
I like the Palpatine theory with like her fighting style and everything. I just really dig that theory.
Yeah, no, okay. I agree with you. That is a very cool theory.
And then where do you land then, Kenneth?
I don't have a theory on if I believe she's, one family or another, but I do hope, like I said, I hope that her lineage doesn't matter because to me
no. Gun to your head, gun to your balls.
No. I hope my theory is my theory is that she's not related to anybody. She is a true hero that is just like Luke was when we first saw Star Wars. He was just the son of this guy that was in a war, and that was it. Like he didn't have this great past. He wasn't Vader. It was just he was destined for greater things because he chose it. And that's what I hope Rey is. I hope that she has no relation to anybody and that she finds out her backstory, but it makes her more conflicted on where she should be now.
You get three choices in Star Wars. She's a
good, bad,
she's a Skywalker, she's a Kenobi, or she's a Palpatine. That's it.
Okay, Kenobis.
I like Kenobi too. I think that's more probable, but I like the Palpatine.
She's a Hutt.
Oh God! Well, what the hell happened?
Well, really, because I just watched Force Awakens like 2 nights ago, and one thing that bugged me a little bit the first time I've seen it. This is only like the second time I've seen it.
What?
This really bugged me the second time around was that she does like pick up that lightsaber and she bests somebody that has been training with a lightsaber really quickly. So I kind of hope that they address that a little bit, because that whole end scene just does not feel.
She's just Neo. She's just she knows.
Well, if that's what happened, I'm fine with that. But they did not give that information to the audience really clearly.
Well, what about Luke
Luke
at the end of New Hope? He pulled off a 1 in a million shot.
But you have
the use of the Force.
The use of the Force, but you have Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice in his ear. You have that feeling. They build up to it. In Force Awakens, you didn't have that. You didn't hear, either Luke's voice or even Kenobi's voice or anybody. You didn't hear anything to give her. Of course, she didn't have anything. That's also another thing. Like, Luke was given, depending on who you talk to, a little bit of training, either days or hours, depending on how long it took to jump to Alderaan. But he had some kind of inkling of how he connected to the Force, and he had some training, where Rey has zero.
No, I wouldn't say zero. She has
she has that.
There's a
she has that
connection.
Connection. Yeah, she has that connection. I just wish that they had brought it back around.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To give them a little bit more strength. Now they can fix that in this one. They just need to address that of like how she was able, which I think that's an easy thing to do.
Well,
I
think though that also, while I agree with you that I'd like to see that there's some kind of, maybe it would be great if she had some other kind of training, or she showed some kind of Force sensitivity in her past or something like that, or maybe you get a POV of she heard something during that fight that the viewer didn't get to see. I don't know how they would explain it, but I don't think it matters, to be honest with you, because I just think that it
feels rushed. It feels rushed. Much like that entire movie feels rushed to me.
I don't think, to me, it didn't feel rushed. It's like, I thought that, okay, she already knew how to use. She already knew combat hand to hand. What's his name picked up the lightsaber. He was able to wield it. Now, not as well as him, but he didn't have hand to hand training. So I feel like she did as well as she.
He was a clone trooper.
He definitely had training.
Now, what if her Force mind Jedi, whatever you call it, reading of, well, what if Kylo Ren unlocked something in her?
Yeah.
In their little Force, whatever, like transferred some of his knowledge. Now, again, we're putting something in the movie that wasn't given to us. But what if something transferred? What if there was copied and pasted?
Absolutely. Like, all these things are possible. I just want the story I just want the filmmaker to let me know that as the audience, and me not going, I'm sure it was this or was that. Again, there was so much in that movie that to me was just sped through, where I kind of wanted to simmer on it a little bit. And I'm hoping that, and with this trailer, I'm really hoping that we get some of that character development and that simmering and really, just like Empire, really delving into the Force and seeing that all those metaphors and great storytelling rising to the surface. But moving on.
Wait, before we move on,
okay.
I want to mention, well, we talked about the story, but I wanted to mention,
it's all set up.
Well, I want to mention something here that I thought was really interesting about the trailer, is that we're getting we've seen the planet before in the first or the second trailer, which is kind of looks rocky and deserty with the red dirt under the,
under the.
But now we're seeing like what looks to be the interior of the planet or some caves or something, and it's all this like crystalline structure. Did you guys see that in the trailer?
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah, like the Falcons flying through like a tunnel.
Okay. You think that's the?
I think that might be the same planet. And this is the shower thoughts I have. It's like, okay, Star Wars planets are kind of based on extreme environments, and I'm like, okay, what else can they give us? We've got desert, swamp, we've got a water planet, we've got a snow planet, we've got a forest. What other environment?
Sand.
We got the desert, more sand. So I find it really interesting that we're getting kind of a planet that we've I don't know. Maybe something similar in Clone Wars happened, but Clone Wars had some new planets. But some in the movies that we've maybe never seen before is kind of this crystalline structure. There's all these red crystals, and I wonder if those could be
Krypton.
No, I wonder if they could be kyber crystals, the red crystals for, the
Like the Sith homeworld or
Sith
something?
holocron. I mean, Sith lightsabers.
Well, that's not how Sith lightsabers come from when they have to make a kyber
synthetic
crystal bleed.
Oh,
No. They've retconned that.
okay.
In the new canon, I've been reading the new Darth Vader comics, so now they have a whole thing about how Darth Vader gets his first lightsaber, and what you have to do is you have to get a kyber crystal, which come in the green and the blue variety, and then you have to pour in
And yellow, purple.
Well, not in canon.
Well, what about Mace Windu?
Mace Windu. Oh, geez, do we have to go through this? Okay, Mace Windu is not a kyber crystal. Mace Windu's is gas based.
Okay, hey,
That's
look,
why it's purple.
school me up.
No. It wasn't that I was schooling you. It was just like, oh golly, I don't want to show that I know this. That was not a knock on you. That was a knock on me. So, but they have to. So the Sith have to pour their hatred and the dark side into the crystal, which then
Literally
quote, unquote, bleeds it and turns it red.
Okay.
So, but it's still a crystalline planet, and it could easily be kyber crystals. I mean, they are firing blasters,
Yeah, I mean that's
and lasers through it all. That might just be the reflection of the red blasters going through the crystal.
I don't know.
That's why they look red.
Well, there's that the planet where those things are dragging the ground, and there's like red dirt underneath the first layer of topsoil. So that's why I think that it's like crystals. But so I don't know. I mean, Rogue One kind of
color graded it for the trailer, since red is a big theme in this one. I mean, that's always the thing about these trailers. Like, they could always tweak it.
Well, I'm just saying, kyber crystals were kind of a little bit of a subplot in like Rogue One.
Oh, sure.
And then I think they dealt with it in Rebels a little bit.
And apparently in the next season, the season that's about to premiere, that's going to be a huge thing, is kyber crystals.
Yeah.
I think they've really pushed that
So
in the new canon.
But hey, before we move on, shout out to Snoke, non-hologram. For all those haters out there, he's not 30 feet tall.
I wanted him to be miniature. I wanted him to be Yoda sized.
So you wanted it to be like the scene from Star Trek Beyond, where you think that they're these huge things, and then they come into the shot and they're about 6 inches tall.
Yeah. I thought it'd be even more impressive that he was a force wielder.
Plus,
just like Yoda.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I don't want to. I don't need that to happen.
Well, we'll just have to, our favorite phrase, we'll have to wait and see.
I'll have to watch the trailer a million more times.
But I think that this trailer shows that we are all going to be very excited, and it's going to be a good show on December 15th, whenever this movie lands. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, I highly suggest that you get them sooner rather than later. Now, a movie that I don't think that a lot of people are going to have to pre-order, Justice League.
Hey.
that was your masterful segue.
Well, my masterful segue was interrupted earlier. That was my backup segue.
So yeah, since we last talked, there's been a new Justice League trailer, and all our favorites are back. Of course, Wonder Woman's in there. After her success, we got a lot of Aquaman. We got to see more of the Flash. We get to see a little Steppenwolf. Even Commissioner Gordon's in there. There's even some Clark Kent-ishness in there.
Which kind of has a throwback to like Superman the movie.
Well, the fact that he's in Kansas and it's that.
Well, no, he's standing in the sunset. He's got like a red and black flannel shirt on, which is like what the young Clark Kent wore in Superman the movie, standing in a field of grain.
Oh, okay.
Out in the sunset, like in the first movie.
And we had two trailers, and Kenneth, you dug up the international trailer, which is a shorter, tighter cut.
Yeah.
And I actually prefer the international trailer.
Yeah, I do too.
One thing I really like about, One thing I don't like. Let me start with that.
Let's start with your don'ts. Everybody give some don'ts.
What I don't like about it. A couple things. I'm excited for this movie. I'm gonna see this movie. No, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy it. Hopefully I will. I'm gonna be along for the ride as it happens. This is kind of in retrospect of the last few movies. So I don't know what to expect, but I'll be there opening night.
Are we talking about what we don't like about the movie or we don't like about this trailer?
Well, based on what you've seen in this trailer, what are
you concerned about, I guess?
What don't you think you'll like? Then we'll go to the positives.
I mean, we'll see. I hate to cast any judgment, without seeing everything in context. To me, Batman's a little lighthearted for my taste. But I'm used to a more grim and serious Batman. He's definitely been Afflecking it about. Even Aquaman, and I know I shouldn't have any preconceived notions of Aquaman, but even he seems to be having a good old time.
Michael Keaton's Batman wasn't all serious. I mean, he had a little smirks every once in a while, and he had stop. I mean, for God's sakes, he was a comedian.
He was, but man, all the scenes that come to my head are dark and let's get nuts and him brooding over the back computer, and I don't remember a lot of Michael Keaton comedy in that movie.
But also there's a difference between whenever Batman is in, even going to the comics side of it, whenever he's in the Detective Comics or Batman, it's a different Batman than whenever he's with Justice League or with there is a shift in tone in the comics. There's a shift in tone on the television screen too with the animated shows. There is always a shift in tone. Batman always becomes a lot lighter whenever he's opposite Wonder
Barry
Woman
Allen
and the
Wally
Flash
West.
and Superman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He has to lighten up a little bit because if he's always just brooding, then he becomes like the Batman from the Batman Lego movie where you're just like, why didn't you guys invite me? Because you're kind of a downer, dude. So he has to lighten up a little bit. I actually think I don't have anything about this trailer that I'm really can point to saying that I'm worried about other than just the story being kind of bland.
Yeah, and we'll see.
That's my only concern, that it's all action, that it's just an invasion movie and it's all action and it's just one set piece after the other, where you're going just really cool visuals that look cool in the trailer.
They look cool-ish.
I would agree with you, Wyatt. I think that I'm afraid that the movie's just going to be really about this invasion and convincing the characters to join the fight. And kind of, hey, it's my turn. You said
I know,
what you
I'm
did.
sorry.
I think that we've already, Wonder Woman and Batman are already convinced. So they got to convince Aquaman, the Flash, and Cyborg. And, is that going to be the heart of the characters? Is that what it's... I mean, what kind of growth? I mean, I guess it's a team-up movie. But, even, Avengers felt like the characters learned something about each other. And, I don't know.
Right. The Avengers is a good team-up movie, just like an Ocean's 11 style team-up movie. Like that. Those are all great examples that at least make it interesting to watch. There are plenty of stories in the comics that have action in them or on the television screen that Justice League has done.
But didn't you just describe every Marvel movie?
Well, but in the Marvel movies, they find this way to endear the characters to you or to make it at least a little bit interesting, and they kind of come from a different angle. Right now, I just see this as being a lot of grays and muted tones, and then with flashes of explosion every once in a while.
A lot of red.
Yeah, and a lot of red. And, I do agree with you guys that I think that the international trailer is a better cut of this trailer because it cuts out some of the cheeky Aquaman things.
Yeah.
And I think kind of makes the piece also the soundtrack makes it sound and feel a little bit more
Like, oh, it's an invasion.
grandiose.
They better get
it feels
together.
a little bit more of a weight to it.
It's Wallflowers, We Can Be Heroes, which is a little too on the nose for me and a little too like kind of a eclectic choice rather than like I like to come together. Like that's a good, we got to get the team together to fight the bad guy.
Yeah, but was that the Wallflowers version or was that Bowie?
Ooh, I think it's a Wallflowers version, but I could be wrong.
It really actually does kind of show that depending on how the actual movie is cut and how it is actually presented to us, this could be two completely different films.
And
so they may be just marketing that for, okay, American audience want the cheekier, the funner side, and the international audience, they're going to go for the more operatic.
Yeah, and the filmmakers don't have a lot of control usually of the the marketing and how the trailers or even any of that. It's all contracts and we've got a deal to use this song and
I guess, but that Star Wars trailer we just saw is pretty good.
Yeah, but one of the things that I'm concerned about is that with Suicide Squad, they came out with some great trailers that apparently had nothing to do with the actual tone of the film. And then they were so well received that the studios then went back and went, oh, no, we need more fun because that's how we're selling this movie, even though it's this dark, moody piece.
I don't know what they were
go
thinking.
back and liven it up. Yeah, and then they went back and reshoots. So I'm almost like, are you guys trying to figure out what this movie is with the marketing? Are you using this as a test?
I mean, you
to
say
see
that,
which
Wyatt,
one
but,
gets more interesting?
but the trailers for Suicide Squad would make you think that it was a Harley Quinn Joker movie, which it very much was not. But one thing that this movie, a little, what I'm worried about is that it might suffer from maybe, let's say, Amazing Spider-Man-itis, that it's too busy setting up Darkseid to focus on Steppenwolf. And we're saying we got to get the team together. We got to get Superman back, whatever. Like, to me, it's almost too much looking toward the next film already without focusing on this
really
one.
Haven't set up the Flash. I mean, they have in the sense that they have mentioned them, or in Aquaman that they've mentioned them, but it's not like whenever the Avengers came together, whenever you had seen Captain America through an entire, you knew his story, you knew
but
Iron Man's story, you knew.
And I know they're trying to reverse engineer this.
But do they need to set up those characters? I think with these DC characters have in some ways, way longer history than some of those Marvel characters. They're kind of like in a way like in some ways like the pantheon of what a hero is. And so everybody knows who the Flash is. Been doing, not everybody knew who Iron Man was.
But a lot of the people in these movies, the characteristics are not the same.
I'm okay with
characteristics that we've known.
That's what
I'm fine with that, but you have to introduce that information to me. You can't expect me to know these characters and then go like, oh, but this is not your Barry Allen. It's like, but you're using my previous knowledge to get me invested in this, but then you're gonna flip it on me. Like, wait a minute, hold on.
Well, I mean, everybody knows who Superman is. I mean, everybody knows who the Flash is. They can't take that away from them by just reinventing it, because no matter what you do, you present the new character. Somebody's gonna not like that new version. They wanted this character version that they liked from this specific comic.
Oh, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, like, if you're using pre-existing information, you have to then hold to that. You can't say, oh, we're using pre-existing information, your knowledge of this character, and then in the middle of, but in your movie going like, well, actually he's not like that. It's like, well, hold on, you have to tell me that.
Yeah. Well, here's what I liked about the trailer. I agree with you, Wyatt. I'm afraid of that thing, but I am actually really excited to see what Jason Momoa does with Aquaman. I think that could be a really fun take on the character.
I think that he's going to be a standout character in this movie. I agree with you. Yeah.
I am excited for the Flash, maybe you guys mentioned some of the cheekiness of like Batman and stuff, but I liked the little closer of the trailer where they're talking about the bat signal. I thought that was fun. Because especially if he's like playing the young kid of the group, now that's not specifically, the traditional Barry Allen, but like I said, we haven't met this character really yet, so we don't know where they're gonna take it. But I thought that was fun. I thought that was a fun, not taking itself hopefully too seriously. That we can have a little fun with, like they did in Avengers with the cards and Captain America having the trading cards and. Just trying not to take themselves too seriously. This was the first shot that I've seen of
Cyborg.
Cyborg. Ray Fisher. That I was like, okay, I believe he looks badass when he like picked up Aquaman or was flying by, and I was like, okay, that looks cool.
A lot of that still looks real CG to me, and I mean, we'll see when it's in the movie and I'm in the zone, but just from the trailer, it's real CG.
That's something that I've even watching this Star Wars trailer. I've been playing the new Battlefront 2 demo, and watching some of that Star Wars trailer, I'm kind of like, this looks like, I mean, it's better, but not like a tremendous amazing jump in quality, and a lot of the camera, because the camera moves are so fast, and because the CG has gotten so good in the games that I'm looking at it going like, man, this looks really similar. Now, I don't think that the Battlefront 2 would hold up on a 70-foot screen. However, on my iPad, they look identical almost, which is just kind of weird. I don't know really if I have anything to say about that. It's just kind of odd that the between those two, between a video game on a PS4 and a major tentpole major motion picture, the graphics, sometimes when they go to these things, when there's no person in it, there's no context, it looks just like a video game.
Well, I mean,
like, okay,
CG is going to be what it is. I mean, like Civil War is
and
one of my.
A lot of these are these are not finished graphics, because I will agree with you. Like whenever Aquaman comes through that building, slides out, I'm like, that looks green screen like crazy. But it'll probably be better whenever
was that in this trailer too? Him sliding.
I don't know if it was in this one. I forget.
Yeah, they made it. But my point is that, like, you look at like Marvel's Captain America: Civil War. It's got some terrible CG in it too. And but I think what's important to remember here is that like the movie's a good time, and so you kind of forget about that. So hopefully,
hopefully it's a good time. Yeah, hopefully the story will make us forget.
Hopefully this one's a good time too, and we can forget about it. But also J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. This is like the first time they showed a shot of him when he was looking up in the sky. I don't think I've seen this shot before that I was like, okay, he's Commissioner Gordon. I think every other time I've seen him, I was like,
what's J. Jonah Jameson?
Yeah, that's J. Jonah Jameson in a fedora. So we'll see. I'm excited about. I want this to be good. I mean, these are the heroes.
Well, we all want it to be good.
Batman, The Flash, Superman, Wonder Woman. These are the ones I read more than some of the Marvel heroes that are so big today.
Absolutely. Same here.
I didn't read Thor. I knew who they were. I didn't read Iron Man. I mean, I read Spider-Man, but
that's because Marvel sold off all their good ones, and all they had left was Iron Man and Thor and
exactly
the Avengers.
But yeah, I think that it could be. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt here, guys. I'm gonna pre-order some tickets.
We got to.
Yeah, that's all we have.
That's all we have is hope. On our planet, it means hope.
Well, speaking of something that we know is awesome and is coming to Blu-ray, Batman the Animated Series, the one from the 90s. Did you guys watch this?
What do you mean did we watch it?
I lived it. I lived it.
How dare you, sir? Challenge us to a duel.
They announced it at Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, that they are going to release it in 2018, all 85 episodes on Blu-ray. Now, there's not been a lot of information about this. They basically just came out and went, hey, we're going to put it out on Blu-ray in HD, all 85 episodes. I don't know if I can right now recommend this. Just
no, you're
because-
looking forward to it.
Well, no,
See what happens
I'm
with
not
it.
because I already own it. I already own the thing.
Yeah, I've got it on
DVD.
DVD. Is it going to be that much better on Blu-ray?
And that's the biggest question, because they put out a Batman Mask of the Phantasm on Blu-ray, which I picked up immediately. Even though I owned it on DVD, I was like, yes, I'll pick this up. And I've watched it. That, and if you don't remember, the Batman Mask of the Phantasm was the theatrical release of basically like a 3 or 4 parter Batman episode. I mean, it was
pretty good though. It was really good.
No, it was really good. It's I forget the backstory behind it, but it kind of fit in this weird time that for some reason they were able to get a theatrical release of this movie.
And it doesn't fit into the real
No,
canon.
it doesn't, but it's a weird, there's a whole thing like Bruce Timm talks about, like how they were able to in the behind the scenes, how they were able to get this on into theaters, because it was just like a weird fluke that this like popped in. But anyway, they have the intro online where they've up-resed it to 1080 and on YouTube and stuff like that, and you can see it on like the Engadget article. We'll link to it. And you have to remember though that this wasn't shot on film.
Yeah, things were 4x3 back then.
It was 4x3. That's we can't do anything about that.
And SD.
And then it was edited in SD. Yeah, I mean, it was edited in standard definition. It was never
For you kids out there,
produced.
standard
Yeah.
definition
means it looks really, really bad. No,
if you
standard
ask your parents about VHS, and
for a while there, standard definition used to just mean 480i. 480p in some
geez,
places
let's
was
not-
considered HD for a while.
let's not go there. but if you look at, and I hate to bring this up, but if you look at Star Trek: The Next Generation, whenever that went into Blu-ray, they did this massive basically rebuild, where they went back to the 35 millimeter negative, rescanned it in HD, redid a lot of the visual effects, because a lot of the visual effects were done for cost saving.
And that was
They
the
were
easy
done
part.
in standard def.
All that was
part.
the easy part. They had to find the film first. They had to find the film.
Yeah, they had to find the film, then they had to rebuild it, and then some of the stuff that they couldn't find, then they just had to up-res the best quality standard def version that they had.
Yeah.
Well, but in that show, now you won't see that with like Deep Space Nine and stuff like that, because apparently they never went back to, they shot on film, but then they converted it down to video.
I don't know.
Edited it. No. They've come out and said this. Paramount has come out and said this. Like,
but
they're not going to be able to do, because the deal was that Star Trek: The Next Generation was cut old school, where it was still cut on film. So they only had to go find the episodes. Then any of them that were damaged with the visual effect shots, then they had to go find the original camera or the camera negative.
Although
film
there
negative.
is a new, not going to spend too much time on Star Trek, but there is a documentary coming out for Deep Space Nine called What We Left Behind. And it's being made by one of the original producers of Deep Space Nine. I think he also did Voyager. And there is some effect shots that they want to use for this documentary that they are trying to get up-res, and they track down the guy who has the assets of the original CG models.
Oh, well, okay. Well, that's something completely different.
No, but they are working with Paramount to get these scenes done.
Right, but that's later DS9 when they started moving into CG. That's completely different than going back to the Batman animated series. This was not drawn in HD. I don't think they've gone back to the cells to reanimate this thing.
But the cells themselves, they can just
the cells themselves. Like if you could find all the cells and rebuild the show from scratch,
yeah,
they could. They could. I mean that definitely would be worth the time, or that would be worth the money to me to go in and purchase it.
I tell you, I have,
But I doubt that's what's going to happen.
I have the DVDs box set. I don't. I might have the Batman Beyond one too. I tell you, I'm unsure about purchasing this based on everything we've talked about. But they could really get me on board purchasing it with a couple of things. First off, if they addressed some of the episode order issues, I think there's some issues with the episode order on the show. If I'm not mistaken, like in terms of the final season. And then also, I don't want to have to buy all the movies that were done at the same time. They should be including these in the box set. Like Mask of the Phantasm, there's a Mr. Freeze movie, there's one with Superman, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, these kinds of things. If they found some way to package this all together, that would get me in more on buying this.
No, I agree with that. I can see that. That would be worth it. But really it's the quality, or if they have some more behind the scenes stuff, because there's a little bit on the DVDs.
Yeah.
But if they've got more content out there, I mean, that's right now they really haven't put out a lot. So
an old wait
we
and
shall see.
An old wait and see on this thing too.
Yeah, but it's definitely, we are going to be watching out for this, because I think that if they do it right, this is going to be a hot topic or a hot gift idea for my Christmas tree come 2018. Well, gentlemen, I know that we missed last week because you guys had your Richard, what did you call it? Your Murtaugh list?
Yeah, we were getting too old for midnight buys at Best Buy. Where were we? Walmart.
At Walmart, getting
It took 2 days. It took some of us a week to recover from that.
Kenneth, talk to me about since you have the SNES or SNES, as I like to call it.
Well, basically, Legion. I got home, unpacked the SNES Classic, hooked it up. We played some game. Not that night, of course, but that next morning, my wife and I got up, had some
what happened to
breakfast.
Donkey Kong Country at 1 a.m.?
Yeah, she was like, "Do not."
She shot that down on Facebook.
Yeah, she was like, "Do not wake me up." She posted on there. Well, anyway, so we played for a while, and yes, again, the controller cables are still short.
Boo.
Boo. So, for the NES Classic, I purchased some extensions, and I haven't tried to see if they work, because I think they might even be the same connector. But I went ahead and pre-ordered, and I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right, the name of the company, but 8-Bit Dough.
Yeah, that's right.
Or
That'll work.
8-Bit Do, like Nintendo.
Ah.
I don't know. But they make a whole bunch of different third-party controllers for a bunch of different systems. Mostly like if you want to play classic games on your PC, like through Skype or what is the other one, like Really Cool Games or something. I forgot the other website that does like those old kind of games. Well, they have made basically just the controller that comes with the SNES, the original SNES controller that comes with the Classic, but wireless. Now, the reason I pre-ordered it is because the one they made for the NES Classic ended up selling out, and they never made any more. So you can't get it.
What is with, like, are there kyber crystals in these devices? What?
I don't know. They're making them.
What is the deal with this?
They're making them bleed inside.
I guess so. Well, which one did you get? Because I'm looking on the Amazon link right now. They have the
I got the Famicom one. I got the Famicom one.
Is that the one with the colors?
The colored buttons, the red, yellow, green, and blue
Yeah.
button. X, Y, YXBA. Just because I'm like, look, I've already got 2 controllers that came with the system that are just like the original system. And man, me and Richard, he popped out the controller when we got in the car after leaving Walmart that night and got it. And I was like, we were concerned that the controller wasn't going to be as good as the original one. It was going to be smaller, but it didn't feel smaller. And it felt, just that SNES controller is one of the best controllers ever made. Like the design of it, it just works.
It is. It fits perfect in your hands. My son said the other day, he was playing the SNES Classic. He was like, man, this controller hurts my hands. I was like, shut your mouth. this controller is perfect. Now,
Then you handed him an N64 controller. And
That's right.
This will hurt your hand.
Yeah. You're not holding it right. Basically, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Richard.
Well, my one complaint about the SNES, looking back in retrospect, the Super Nintendo controller was perfect, but I find that, like, if you think of a modern button layout, like, where does the primary button land? The primary button, like the X button,
bottom,
or it should be the bottom middle. Well, that bottom middle on the Super Nintendo is the B button, not the A button. And just after 20 years of the evolution of controllers, when I'm playing video games, I'm like, like, they're not like this anymore. Like, that should be the primary button and not the secondary button. That should be the A button and not the B button. But anyways, that's just, controllers have evolved.
You can't hearken for the classic and be like, yeah, but this is not as good as modern. Like, well, obviously it's the older version.
Well, it's just one of those things where you can see where we've come from. And when you put it in your hands, you're like, well, this is a little different, and I see where we've come to these days.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I was playing with a PS2 just the other day, and just that controller, which is very, very similar.
It is. They haven't changed much.
Not much, but they've changed it enough, and it's subtle differences, but it does feel different in the hand, and it's less comfortable. So it is an interesting evolution that we've had in controllers. Nintendo seems to have gone the furthest.
Oh yeah, they've
no
always
doubt
trying something new. Well, I can't speak towards the quality of this specific one. I did pre-order it, but based on the reviews from their other controllers, it looks like usually their controllers try to fit form factor and feel with the original gamepads or controllers. So I'm looking forward to this. It comes out December 10th, right before Christmas. So hopefully we're going to have a bunch of kids over Christmas time, that kind of thing. And then we can all play and not have to be right up next to the TV. And it's $24. So it's about the price of like a decent bundle of controller extension cables. So,
cool.
kind of pick your poison.
Nice. Well, something that you may want to look into for this time whenever you're around the television and playing is a camera that just takes pictures with artificial intelligence.
What?
Because
I haven't heard of this.
You haven't heard of this? Well, Google came out with a bunch of new products, and one of those products is, they came out with a new phone and a speaker and some headphones and stuff like that. But the one that kind of caught my eye of like, what, is the Google Clips. And it is an artificial intelligence camera that basically just records whenever the artificial intelligence in your phone thinks it should start recording. It's a new category of cameras that Google is marketing towards parents, and they say towards pet parents. So I believe the idea is, well, people that don't have kids, but they have pets.
Yeah. No. I got that part.
But I mean, that's their target market. So the idea being that you've got your kids or your pets and they start doing something funny, and then you whip out your cell phone or you whip out your camera to start recording. And of course they instantaneously stop because you've lost that moment. The idea being that you would have this little camera, and it's a little cube camera, and you would have it on you, either clipped to you or just laying around, and you would just put it down there, and it's always recording on this camera. And then the artificial intelligence starts to do facial recognition and algorithms to determine what is a good shot, and then lets you know
what it says.
When you go into the app, it's like, hey, look, I've got these great moments. And then you can, on the app, almost like Tinder, you can swipe right and swipe left. So like, no, that's no good. No, that's no good. Oh, that one's good. Let let me save that one. And it will the artificial intelligence will do all your curation for you. And it's much more of instead of as a photographer, you're making decisions and
But it's
crafting
not. But it's
the
not
image.
video.
It's not that. It is video. It's video. There's no mic on it, but it is video, and it takes videos and stills. And I don't know if you guys use Google's Photos app.
Oh yeah.
On your phone or something like that. The Google Photos. It has an assistant tab on it where it will do stuff like it'll add filters and make little videos,
Make
and
little
collages
montages.
for you.
Yeah.
And montages and stuff like that. And then it'll present it to you and go like, hey, this is what I made. And you can go, nope. I mean, most of the time I go and like, nope, that stinks. That's horrible.
It does
No,
weird things like
no.
it'll know when you took a picture in December and it'll add snow to the picture.
right. It does some odd, or it'll like make a GIF out of it. And sometimes those are, if you fired 20 in a row, which most of the time those are just my son holding down the shutter button while he's playing with my phone. So then I
It'd
have
be
a
good,
GIF.
like when
of
I'm
his
taking
lap.
sports shots of my kid playing baseball, I'll do a burst of photos. So then you get a nice little GIF out of that.
Yeah. So, but the idea being that it is not photography, that you've put you've put the viewfinder up to your eyepiece and you have made a decision as a human being. This is more of like you've clipped it onto something and you're just letting life happen. And Google, you're then allowing this camera to capture that and then make a determination, like in a personal assistant. Oh, okay. Hey, take a look at this. This is cool. And then you can, save it or whatever. And I just wanted to, Richard, what do you think? You've got 4 kids around you. All these things are happening.
4 kids
Life
and a
happenings.
dog.
But some really interesting things are like at a Boy Scout outing or something like that, having this little, it looks really, really small. Google's saying that they've done some research and saying that like clipping it to your body like a police body cam is not ideal.
Oh yeah.
They
What
said
about
that doesn't work as
sneaking
well,
it
but
into
just
meetings and
well, it doesn't have a microphone on it. So, unless you just wanted
What if I
video
could-
of 7 seconds of video of people sitting around your conference table.
so it won't
But
pick
just
up
like
that
clipping
sexual. It won't pick up the verbal sexual harassment.
Exactly.
Just
Just the
physical.
visual
Just the
sexual
reach.
harassment.
just the
Yeah.
physical. Okay, good to know.
But you could, clip that on to something and then, it's a pretty wide angle lens too, and just kind of get the environment. And if something happened, not bad, but something funny happened or something like that, you would capture it and you can be completely hands-free and you can review that. Would that be something that is interesting to you, or at least something that you would think about buying?
I love it. This is like, ideally, if I can be a futurist for a second, I think one day what you do is you take a device like this, you put it on a drone, and then that drone just hovers over your shoulder like third person-y. And then that way at your kid's birthday party, it's just kind of hovering around, doing its own thing, taking all the pictures, capturing all the memories.
Not far off. That is not far off.
Man.
You can do that now.
It really
with
isn't.
DJI.
And there's a couple of things
with
out
the
there that
Mavic,
already
yeah.
do it. And I just think that one of these days that's going to be the thing, is we're all just going to have a little thing hovering over our shoulder. And
like Link.
exactly.
Gonna catch it in a bottle.
Hey,
Hey,
hey, look here.
People will see, action games with third person perspective and be like, oh, this is what life was like in the olden days. It's like, no, that's a video game. Oh, we have that now. We
That's
just
right.
have this camera that follows around. Well, the person that's going to make the bang for the buck then, who's going to become a billionaire, if that does take off, is the person that figures out the quiet blade.
I know,
Because
exactly.
right now,
When it's not just
you
a
watch
swarm of
drone
bees.
footage. Because I edit drone footage and I think it's always funny because, you see these majestic shots and it's this swelling music. And then you look at the raw footage and you just hear the entire thing. And it's, especially when people do it in weddings during the service.
We need
I
like
don't
a Mr.
understand
Fusion and that hover technology.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Quiet.
Just something quiet. Yeah.
Or whatever they
something quiet.
do for like stealth helicopters. a second rotary blade above the first one to cancel it out.
Or that dude with the glasses that rides in the cloud and has a camera on a fishing pole.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's what you need is a cloud,
a
Koopa, and
well, I think this is kind of interesting. So they really do understand that this could be perceived as very creepy, which it kind of is. So Google has put a lot of effort into making sure that people think that like it's only on the device, it's locked in, it's not putting it up to the cloud. So there is that.
But it is wireless, right? Like it's a Wi-Fi connection.
It doesn't specify if it's Wi-Fi or Bluetooth connection, but it is connecting to your phone and then streaming the video to your phone, and it'll export motion photos, GIFs, JPEGs, and movie files. Okay. Those are the
I gotta
things
say,
that you can export out.
I love the idea. I think it's a pretty cool functionality, especially when you're going on a day like out to the park and you want to be there having fun, but you don't want to be like having, my wife's always like, here, take pictures of everything. And I'm like, I want to be here.
Yeah, that's what my mom always says, is she's the one taking the picture. She's not in
But
the
I gotta admit that I was expecting from Google as far as the camera specs and the quality of the stuff, they'd be able to take away from it. I thought it'd be a little more, or at least have like a higher end version or something. It's
well, I mean, it's a 12 megapixel camera.
It's comparable, yeah, but
that's not horrible.
But I've got that on my phone.
I don't think that this is not something that this is not going to replace your Canon 5D Mark IV.
No, but what I'm saying is for $249, I've already got a phone. The functionality isn't enough for me to, I want the tech too. I want better.
But I think that the what you're paying for is the AI and the hands-off freeness, where you just go and you actually turn the lens and that turns it on.
Yeah.
And then you clip this thing to if you're going hiking, you clip that to your backpack and you just forget about it. Or you're just at your kid's birthday party and you set it up, you just set it on the coffee table or something like that, and you just forget about it.
Can you use it as a nanny cam?
I mean,
put it on your baby.
You could, but that's not what it's there for. And it would be after the fact. It would be after the fact.
And another piece of kind of the Google puzzle that I like about this, I don't know how much you guys have played around with Picasa, or what was Picasa.
Yeah, what's it called now? My wife's
is it Snapseed? Is it Snapseed now, or? Okay,
I mean, I think it's
Snapseed
Google Photos now, but it was Photos, Picasa.
Yeah.
But Picasa had a great, like, almost scary facial recognition.
Google Photos, it's still
algorithm.
Yeah, then that's Google Photos, because it's creepy how
what
good
I love
it is.
about it is, like, it can take my 11-year-old son, and when he was like an infant, and somehow through its algorithm of face detection, it knows which one is my oldest son, which one is my daughter, which one is like, so just imagine if it knew your family out of a crowd. You could go to Disney World, and out of all the faces it recognizes, it knows which 5 or 4 are your family, which ones are important to you to take a picture.
And it does that. And I do think it does it because I get a video pretty much every year where the title is "They Grow Up So Fast," and it's my son, and it's a little video of him growing up since he was an infant of all my pictures, him growing up for like a minute and a half video.
And there was
it's dead on accurate every single time.
There was a cool a feature that Picasa had that you could make a slideshow where it would chronologically like overlay the photos, but it would always line the eyes and the face up.
Oh, nice.
And so that you would see over time this change of just Halloween costumes. And it was just really cool.
Morph kind of thing. Cool. Yeah, no, I mean, my biggest issue with it, like I would buy this tomorrow, but it's $249. That to me is way too much. If it was, I don't know, $100, probably be my top end. But 250s, so I'll wait for the second gen. But I'm really interested by this. I think that this could be really cool as long as it's not streaming this out into the world. Mm-hmm. I think that it's an interesting thing.
Does it have Qi power?
No, no, they don't specify that. I think wireless charging would be a big selling point. So I'm sure it's just an internal lithium.
Right.
Okay, and it transfers over Wi-Fi.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
looking at the specs now, so it does transfer over Wi-Fi.
Looks like you can get like a bump, all these different style cases for it.
Cases for it. Yeah. So
Here we go.
It is meant to be like a fun little thing.
I mean, it could be a cool gift for a kid. They go out to the park and play or whatever with their friends, and they want to, my daughter loves taking videos with her iPad of her toys. She likes to set them all up and video them and ask them questions and stuff. So, I mean, not just to give it to the kid and go run wild. Obviously, you'd hook it to your phone, but I mean,
well, I'm just thinking that this could be a new way of photographing the family.
Yeah.
Of just instead of like what Richard was saying, instead of having to always be concerned
or your dog.
Oh yeah, or your dog. Yeah, they're family too. And just being able to be in the moment, and then after the fact, still actually, document it, but not have to be so concerned about getting every little or missing out on something. Because a lot of times it's like we're not photographing something as a photographer, we're just photographing to document it. So I think that this is a great little device. Something else that came out of this that I know, Richard, you were interested in was Google's in-ear headphones.
Yeah,
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, maybe. Google came out with a device, Pixel Buds, wireless headphones that help you do more. And one of the features of these wireless headphones is that they can translate. They're multilingual with Google Translate and Pixel. So in association with your phone, your Pixel phone, they can translate in real time. I'm quoting real time with 40 languages. Air quotes.
Golly, I really want this to be real.
This is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is your Babelfish.
Well, it's the universal translator from Star Trek. It's the holy grail of every world traveler.
These are cool. I think that if that works, whatever. But I think that these could be these are good competition for the the AirPods. I mean, it's got a couple of cool features like the swiping on the right earbud you can do. Did you guys read that? You can do some gesture controls on the right earbud when it's in your ear for swiping tracks or play pause, that kind of thing.
Is it just for the Pixel phones, or can you use Samsung or other? Is it just Android, or is it iOS as well, or any idea about that?
I haven't gotten.
It looks like Pixel or Android phone running Android 7 Nougat or higher.
It says there's an emphasis.
Assistant.
Yeah, it says there's an emphasis on Android. However, Pixel Buds will also work with iPhone.
Okay, but probably not all the features.
But they can. Here's the thing, though. It'd even work with Siri. But this is what one little blurb in this article that I'm reading about them. They can only be updated when paired to an Android phone.
So it's going to be like...
Well, I guess I'm SOL.
The Samsung Gear 360, where it's like, well, it only works with a Samsung phone.
Yeah. Okay, Google. Well, I guess
you can take pictures, but to get them off the device, you have to have a Samsung device. And what do you guys think about the look? Do you like these looks? How they look?
They look pretty big in your ear, but
I don't mind.
I mean, I guess it's no worse than anything else shoved in your ear.
Yeah, well, it's no worse than the Apple. I mean, I like the ear pods, how they go in the case and stuff like that, but I'm not a huge fan of how they look in the ear. They may be a little sleeker than these. These look a little chunky. But yeah, I mean, it's still just something in your ear.
I know the ear.
You're right, Richard.
The AirPods with the long antenna hanging out. It almost feels like you should be able to talk on the phone with them or something.
Well, you can't with the Apple ones. You can.
Okay, so this one.
Yeah, no, and it's actually one of the best headsets I've ever used are my AirPods.
Okay, but now these, can you do that with these?
Yeah. I'm sure you can, because if you're able to give commands, why would they not?
Yeah.
That seems
Yeah,
like a
you can
silly
answer
thing
the
to
phone with it. So
just
yeah.
to overlook. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, these are interesting. I mean,
It's good competition.
Yeah, competition is great too. So I'm really looking forward to this translate though, because if that works,
And the AirPod
that's
2 is going
exciting.
to perfect it.
I don't know. I mean, the one thing that Google is really good about is aggregating data
Yeah.
and then presenting that
maps.
data to you.
Yeah.
And it may not be the prettiest app or the prettiest hardware in the world. However, it will be rock solid. And if I'm talking to somebody in Paris and I want to know how to get X, Y, or Z, or I want to order this or that,
what are you getting X, Y, or Z in Paris? What?
Crepes? I don't know. A baguette.
Okay. A croissant.
But a croissant. And if this would translate that, that's really interesting. Now, the circle of life would be that, okay, well, how do I then talk to them? Or does everybody have to, just make this an implant that I can put in my ear?
Here, quick, stick this in your ear.
Yeah, exactly. How do I say, stick this in your ear in French?
Well, I think what they said it does is like basically you say something in English and then on your phone it translates it to the language you want to say. And then
No, I've actually done that. I've actually done that with Google Translate.
Yeah, and then
currently
they press the button and then they say their thing in whatever language they're speaking, and then you hear it in your ear.
I mean, it's super awkward, but it does work. Now, if this could do it a little bit more seamlessly, again, going to the Babelfish or to the universal translator, if it was just something that seamless, oh my goodness, that would just be amazing. I'm actually really excited about this now. I hope this comes out and I hope it's awesome.
Now, if I can just get one of these that translates my wife, what she really means.
Hey-o.
Oh, dad joke of the week. Brought to you by...
she listens, right?
Oh, yeah. That was for her. Love you, baby.
You just insulted 100% of our audience.
Yeah, exactly. She's the only human being. The rest of them are all bots.
Oh, wait. I thought the Google camera didn't have audio. So, oh, no. Okay.
Oh, no. Well, all right. I have no segue for this one. Kenneth talked to us about brewing beer in your kitchen, apparently.
Yeah, like, I'm not crazy, like all these crazy beers, going to all these conferences. Like some guys I know going to like beer parties and brewing your own brew internal, your house and stuff like that. But I like a good micro brew. I like trying different beers from different places. And I like tasty beer. And so basically there's a Kickstarter right now for what they're calling a personal microbrewery. It's a little box with a spout on it. You get sent from their app. You order like a little bottle of what they call the wort. It's like a 3-gallon bottle or 3-liter bottle. It's what the breweries use to start. You put some yeast in it, and then this little box controls temperature, like oxygen levels, pressure, and monitors it all, and it lets you know when the beer's ready, and you get to kind of mix and match what kind of beer you want to make for your batch. And I'd recommend checking out the Kickstarter page. I'm sure we'll have a link on the show.
Yeah, there'll be a link down below. Yeah.
But it's already hit its goal. I mean, the goal was $50,000. It's already at $350,000. They've been prototyping this thing for a couple of years now, and so I think that it's gonna hopefully eventually hit the market. I don't think I'm going to support it on Kickstarter, but by all means, if you are, love your beer like some of the folks I know, you may want to.
Now, is this something that it would be a monthly subscription afterwards?
I don't think it's a
where you would
subscription.
get
I
these
think you
things?
just buy it when you want it.
Okay.
And
And then you put this device in the. Okay.
I mean, it's
Interesting.
a
I'm
pretty
just watching the video,
it's
and
a pretty
it's a pretty elegant.
Yeah, ergonomical, elegant, like just beer. And I'm sure if you really wanted to, you could keep one of those bottles, and maybe you could even put beer in it and figure out a way to just not make it come out the tap, and you got a tap at your house. I think it chills it and everything.
So is it actually brewing the beer?
Yes.
Yeah, it is brewing the beer. Okay.
So yeah, you get basically what they call wort, WORT, in the jug, and then you get the hops, and it explains to you where to put them and how to do it. I think you put some water in it, and then, I mean, I'm explaining it a lot, but from watching the video, it's as elegant and looks to be as easy to use as a Keurig. And as easy to
right. It does look like a beer coffee maker.
and as easy to clean as a Keurig. Like they just it's got a cleaning cycle. It's even a little more intuitive than a Keurig. I mean, because it's got to monitor the pressure and all this kind of stuff.
All right. Yeah. Check the show notes for the link down below. This week in movies, gentlemen, we have a few things coming out. We missed last week, so we missed kind of the big movie that came out, Blade Runner 2049. A return to the dystopian future that Ridley Scott created in the 80s, and Harrison Ford is is it 29? No, who's changing it? It's
2049
rundown. It is 49, right? It's not 20.
Yeah.
It should have been 2099.
But then
that rolls off the tongue better.
Then you couldn't have Harrison back.
This is true. All right. Well, the visual jokes don't really work very well on a podcast.
Yeah, Richard.
Yeah, Richard. So, all right, 2049, Blade Runner 2049. Now, I haven't seen it. I'm going to go see it tomorrow night.
Sweet. Yeah, I saw it on Friday, on Thursday.
Now, did you see it? I'm on the fence. Should I see it in 70 millimeter?
Yes. Well, yeah. If you can see it in 70 millimeter, is that in the IMAX?
Yeah, in the IMAX.
Yeah, the sound's great. Like the sound mix is amazing.
That's what I heard. I heard it was like the best sounding movie of the year so far.
If I wish I had been able to, I wish I had been able to see it in the IMAX or the 70 millimeter. That would have been amazing. I really enjoyed this movie. Quick little review. I thought it was really great. It is one of the most beautiful movies I have ever witnessed. It's kind of firing on all cylinders. Acting, directing, the visuals, art direction, the cinematography, the music. Well, the music's kind of a throwback to the original, and it's maybe a little forgettable in some places of the film, but the sound design is amazing. Just the effects are good. Just everything about it. And I have to say that I like the original Blade Runner a lot. I have a special place in my heart for it. I love the spectacle.
Which
of it.
version?
Ooh, I don't like the voiceover. I like.
Well, there's three basic versions. There's the theatrical cut, there's the final cut, and then there's the director's cut.
Yeah, I think I'd probably go with the final cut.
Richard, do you have an opinion on this?
I think Blade Runner is overrated.
Oh,
I know it's that movie that every cinephile everybody says you have to love this movie, and it's on that reason alone that I despise it. It's fine. I think it's boring. There you go.
Well, wait. Well, which version have you seen?
I don't know.
Curious.
I don't know. The director's cut. I don't know.
You probably watched that old DVD
interesting.
that was in that cardboard case back then.
Does it make that huge of a difference? I mean, I think it's just a voiceover.
Yes, it does.
I mean, is it a tighter cut or anything?
It's a much better cut.
It's just different. Yeah, I like the final cut a lot. But
I'm a director's cut guy, but that's when.
Look, I think in some ways I can see what Richard's saying. The movie just
no, I don't know. I don't know who this man is. This Richard man anymore. I thought I knew him. I thought he was part of the Legion, but I can't condone that anymore.
Blade Runner is a slow burn in some ways, and if you're not into the subject matter, like really into it, I can see you getting bored with it. Like if you're not into the ideas behind it, like what does it mean to be human and all that, like if you're not really into this world and the spectacle of it, I can see it getting boring. But in some
If
ways,
you don't like good movies, I can see how it can be boring
Yeah.
to you.
If you don't like the depth, if you don't like,
If you just like
You know,
to check your
not-
mind at the door.
not everybody's movie, not every movie's for everybody.
some people like Michael Bay and Transformers movies, and that's okay.
But listen, I think I actually like Blade Runner 2049 as a movie more than I like the original. I like the idea of everything about it, but
Take
I
that,
feel
Wyatt.
I felt like this one just worked a little better in terms of it gave you a little more meat to chew on in terms of the characters a little. I mean, you'll see what I'm talking about when you see it.
Well, that's great
And-
because that's what you want in a sequel. I don't want reheated 1984.
No, I would say that if
Blade
any-
Runner or
if
87, whenever it came out.
If anything about this, it felt very reverential of the
Mhm.
original, and in terms of, Ridley Scott shoots in a certain way. He shoots a lot of smoke, and he was, that
Long lenses and smoke.
yeah, that camera was his weapon, is like a quote he said for this movie. And I think that was the same for this movie. They really tried to, in a way, he's a producer on it, but they try to make it feel the same world. And I got to say, for a movie that it's been done 30 years later, yeah, it did feel like it could be the future of that world 30 years later without
And then something also
being a rehash.
do you so you don't think that, because one of the issues that I was really concerned about was that Blade Runner has been a very even though I know Richard doesn't like the movie, he can't deny that
insists upon itself.
Just shut up for a minute.
It is that the movie has
You guys won't shut up about it.
a great influence, that it stylistically anyway, that look of the future has been referenced over and over and over again in pop culture.
Is it bland now?
Yeah. Does it
No.
feel?
No.
Oh, okay, good. It didn't do John Carter of Mars,
No,
where it's
Wait a second. Did you see John Carter of Mars?
I did.
yeah, but no, I did. But
Okay.
John Carter of Mars, there's so many of the themes in the original piece were revolutionary. Were first time that we've seen a lot of this stuff in this fantasy world. But
We're
then
talking about the book or something
I'm
else?
talking about the book. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm talking about
okay.
the comic in the book. Like that transformed a lot of stuff and influenced a lot of creators over the years. So then they took those ideas and implanted them into pop culture. When the movie finally comes around, it's like, well, this feels derivative.
Yeah.
It's derivative almost of itself.
Well, that's yeah.
All right.
It's
Well,
not its only problem.
And that's what I was concerned about Blade Runner 2049 being, that Blade Runner has been such an influence on so many filmmakers.
No, because
even though,
I'll tell
to
you
Richard's
why.
point, it's a horrible movie apparently.
So few films, even on top of that, sci-fi films, have really posed a question and followed it through and made it so you're still ambiguously thinking about it, like Blade Runner ever did, which is, what does it mean to be human, and do you deserve to be human, and are you human? And this film carries that idea on, but in its own way pushes it into a new direction. And I was like,
good.
okay, I can deal with this. It wasn't like I said, it's reverential without being a rehash. And I walked away satisfied.
Oh, I love it. Okay. Well,
You gotta go see it. We'll talk about it.
I have to go see it. Yeah, I have to go see it. I'm very excited.
But I don't want
to
upsell you, because look, you're like a hard SOB on some of this stuff. So
No, I am.
but hey,
But I will say that Blade Runner can go. I think the reason that a lot of people really love Blade Runner is because it is so stylistically different and such a unique vision that at the time, we did not get those styles of movies. And I think that's why it's so beloved.
Right.
It's not because it's a perfect movie, because it's not. It does have issues with structure and some of its storytelling, but it is, and it can be slow if you look at it on the surface. But I would argue that there are elements there that keep you interested because of the questions that it asks and the themes that it's trying to evoke. And part of its slowness is how it invokes those themes. But this is not a Blade Runner podcast.
I don't think the trailers for Blade Runner 2049 actually did the film justice in terms of the emotional context of the story and the characters. So that may pleasantly surprise you.
Okay, good. And then Richard, you wanted to rebut?
Yes, my retort.
The floor is yours. Go ahead, Richard.
That was it.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for an elegant argument. Okay, no.
Hey, I could.
Well played, sir.
I disagree, but I respect you still.
Yeah, really, but I will fight for your right to disagree. Moving on. Friday, we've got Manhunter season 1.
Oh yeah,
premiering on Netflix. Super excited about this.
Mindhunter.
What did I say?
I think he said Manhunter.
Oh, okay. No,
I can't really blame you, but
did Fincher do a Manhunter movie or something? Is that what I'm confusing with, or did I just
that Hannibal Silence of the Lambs prequel?
Yeah. Was that what it was called? Okay,
yeah,
maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Red Dragon was Manhunter, and then there was
but this kind of goes in that theme of serial killers and the forensic, mental psychology about that. Yeah, no, I'm super. I mean, this is Fincher's. This is his wheelhouse when it comes to this kind of stuff. I mean, Zodiac is still one of my. I really do love that movie, and this kind of has some of that feel to it. That
I think, and Zodiac is. I've talked to some people that really love it now, but they didn't like it the first time they watched it. That it kind of gets better as the more you view it.
Yeah, no, that is one that because I did not like it the first time, and then I watched it a second time for some reason. I don't even remember why I watched. I think I forgot that I saw it. The first time it didn't leave an impact, and the second time I was like, oh wait, this is good.
Yeah. Well, he's directing. David Fincher's directing 4 of the 8 episodes, so I'm not sure if it's the first 4 or he's bookending it. But it also stars Anna Torv from Fringe fame, which haven't seen her in a while. Well, I guess since Fringe ended, so that's going to be kind of interesting to see her again. But yeah, I love Fincher, and Netflix is
Netflix and Fincher. That is a good combo.
Yeah, yeah. And this,
because if you don't know, House of Cards, that was a Fincher, Netflix.
That goes down smooth.
Collaboration may be too strong a word, but that was their first kind of go around together.
Okay, guys, I have to mention this because of who we are, but I'm just reading the trivia on IMDb for Mindhunter, and it says that they shot the show, all the episodes, with a one-of-a-kind version of the Red Epic Dragon.
Yeah,
that was built
Xenomorph.
Yeah, it was built specifically for Fincher,
Oh, yeah.
and they called it the Red Xenomorph. Now, beyond Fincher, the subject matter, is kind of serial killer based. FBI crime units tracking down these bad, serial killers and other deviants, right?
Yeah, it's a period.
And from
piece,
what I can
which
gather,
is
it's
awesome.
serial killer before they coined the term serial killer.
Now, is it based on something like another show, book, or anything? Do you guys know?
It's based on a true crime book, Mindhunter, inside the FBI's elite serial crime unit, written by Mark Olshaker and John E. Douglas.
So we have that at the end of this week, coming out on the 13th. And then Stranger Things season 2, that's coming out at the end of the month, last Friday of the month, the 27th. So you have time to rewatch the entire first season, which we probably should, because there's going to be something we forgot.
Well, we were discussing maybe Legion having a recap Stranger Thing episode where we kind of talk about what season 2, or maybe we could combine a recap episode with a season 2 kind of mini review. So hopefully we can get Wyatt to watch it all so he can jump on that.
Yep. I got to jump on that. So much to do, so little time.
One other thing I want to mention before we move on from things that are coming out this week. There is something coming out Wednesday of this week. October 11th is when Mr. Robot season 3 airs.
Oh, you a Mr. Robot fan?
I am a huge I was late to the game, but once I got here, this show is amazing.
Yeah, it is. Cool. So RecomenDADtions, because we're going long. We're almost 2 hours. We're an hour and 40 into this. So RecomenDADtions. Kenneth, what do you got for us this week?
All right, my recommendation this week is for an app. Now, I believe it's available on iOS and Android. It's called Mile IQ. Of course, you can sign up for it and never use the app. You could just basically chart your mileage. It's what this app's for. Basically, it's just an app that you load up on your phone, and anytime you get in the car, it senses you're driving, and it logs where you were, where you went, and you can basically log that it's a work trip, it's a personal trip, or you can delete it. So I use this for kind of work purposes. So when I use my car for travel, I can easily get a tax write-off on my mileage for it. You might want to keep track of your mileage, Legion, for some other reason. But basically, at the end of the year, I can load up the website, log into my account, and basically print a spreadsheet that I can send in with my taxes and stuff like that. Super easy. I don't have to keep a logbook. And I get like 40 drives is what they call it, a month free. So however I log them, they're free. What I like about it is, say I don't get on it every week or every month, if I let it just go and keep recording, it'll keep track of it all. And it'll be like, hey, you've exceeded 40 drives, but it's still kept the memory there for you until you delete it. So if I start deleting ones for that month that I don't need in my history, it'll give me the ones that it didn't actually show me above the 40. So it's still keeping track of that, even though you've exceeded it, until you basically designate what kind of drive it is, or you delete it. So,
and then does it cost you anything to like export it out?
No.
Or anything like that at the end of the year?
Yeah, you can print it, you can get a PDF, you can get a month to month, you can get a year, completely free. So, or you can sign up for it. I forget what the fee is, but you kind of get unlimited, and I think you get a couple extra perks. But I would check it out.
No, that is really nice. I am downloading it right now. MileIQ.com. That is very cool. Richard, what do you have for us for the recommendation this week?
Yeah, so it's October, and we have Stranger Things looming at the end of the month, and I happened to stumble across an article that led me to Stranger Things, the video game, available on iOS and Android for free. And to be honest, I haven't played it yet, but I love Stranger Things, and it's free, so, you know, you're not out anything. Why not download it? Stranger Things, why not?
And since you haven't played it, it could be horrible.
It could be shit, but it's free.
Well, no, I actually got a text from an old buddy of mine that is a subscriber to the podcast, and he was like, "You guys should mention this game. I'm playing it." So shout out to Paul for suggesting this. I didn't put it on my recommendations, but Richard did. So,
This game?
Yeah, this game. He suggested this game. He's like, "You guys got to mention this game," and I was like, "All right," and then I got on the spreadsheet for this week's show, and you had it on there, so I was like, "Great."
It was organic. We didn't even have to try.
Yeah, totally.
Well, my recommendation it's called RunBuddy. So I do running, and I used to have you have your phone with you, and now I have the wireless earbuds, but you always have to carry your phone with you. And I had the strap, the little pouch with the arm strap, and I hate those things. And I've gone through about six of them over the years with different size phones and stuff like that. And I've hated every single one of them. I've bought from different manufacturers trying to find that right one. And they always fall whenever I'm running. I hate them. So I was looking for something different. And this product called RunBuddy, I think, is genius. It is basically just a flap with a pocket that has magnets in it. And when
how do they work?
Magnets. How do they work?
You're describing a fanny pack.
You know what? You know what? It
He's going on and on. This is amazing. It's like a flap.
Got a buckle.
It's all the rage. The kids love it.
It's got a zipper.
Your kids are gonna love it.
All right. So in many ways, it is like a fanny pack. I'm not gonna lie. But instead of having a strap around, like a belt style, it just has a flap that goes over your waistband, and then the magnets collapse around your jogging shorts or your sweatpants or whatever, and it locks it in, and then you have a nice little pouch for your cell phone or for keys or whatever. So whenever I go on a run, I just put this thing on. I don't feel it. It's not like a belt around me or anything like that. It's not this stupid little armband that's either too tight or too loose. And then, I flip on my earbuds, put them in, and boom, I can go to town. And the thing is super secure, super easy. And so far, it's my favorite workout way. It's my favorite way while I'm working out to hold my phone. So it's runbuddy.com or the runningbuddy.com. So that's the end of RecomenDADtions. Richard, where can people find us?
You can contact us at legionofdads@gmail.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube and iTunes, or visit legionofdads.com.
And we like to end the show with our last laugh, our dad joke of the week. Who has a joke for me this week?
All right, I've got the joke this week, and it's kind of in theme with some of our topics. What do you call it when Batman skips church?
What do you call it when Batman skips church?
A Christian Bale. These aren't hockey pads.
I'm not wearing hockey pads at church.
And that's the show. Good night, Legion.
Legion out.